Live. There we go. So here's the fun thing is I'm actually live on Instagram and on let's see if we can make this thing work. Instagram, camera one, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live on camera two. Hello. Welcome. So I will say something if you are on the Instagram and you want to actually see some of the things that we're talking about, as far as the articles and some of those things, feel free to jump on over to the YouTube or to the Facebook, and those will all be going. So here we are. If you happen to be here, let me know you're here. Go ahead and drop a comment somewhere, and we'll take a look. But yeah, it's been a Tuesday. Tuesday is normally the best day of the week. You know why? Farthest away from Monday that you can get. It's true. So we are going to be taking a look at a few different news items today. Some of the things that have come up today have been kind of historic and somewhat ignored, some of those things. And we'll take a look at that. But I did want to ask, where do you all get your news from? Do you do the Google News thing? Do you do the YouTube thing? Do you just kind of go around to see what's on YouTube for the day? Are there certain websites that you go to? If you are on Instagram, then you just go ahead and drop it in the comment if you're on the YouTube, or if you're on Facebook, or at least YouTube has a poll. I'd be interested to know where you get your news. Provo Kid, right on time. Glad you're here. So we're going to look at a couple of different things, and I did want to say for me, there are a few places that I do go to find news. I go to news aggregators generally, kind of go from there. We've talked about this before on some of the lives that we've done, but I do go to the Twitter and look at the trending, and so we're going to take a look. Well, I love you too, Provo Kid, though we have never met. So if you happen to be on the YouTube or the Facebooks, then you can see where I am now. So I'm going to be going through a couple different things today, and I'll do my best to bring them, speak them out for all of you on the Instagram. But there are some things that happened that I want to look at. And the number one thing that I want to look at, which I think is a bigger deal than is being made of, and I know it's breaking news, but still, Gorbachev, Mikhail Gorbachev, has left this earth. He has met his maker. He has received his reward, whatever it may be. I don't know if you can always call it a reward, but he's now, as some would say, traversing the undiscovered country. So he's now dead. Yes, rest in peace for Gorbachev. For many people, if you were alive to see the end of the Cold War, to see the end of the Soviet Union as we knew it, Gorbachev was a very pivotal figure. Pretty amazing, the legacy that he had. Here's what I'm interested in knowing, and it's not something that we can really know right now, but and I indicated this on Instagram today, but I wonder what the new history is going to be for Gorbachev, because he is one of those figures that was like a transitionary type of figure. He basically helped the USSR die. Diplomat extraordinaire, some would say. Some say worked out some sort of a deal. But I do go to, before we go to the article, I do go to Drudge Report. Drudge Report is sort of the unofficial place where news begins. Ever since Matt Drudge broke the story about a certain president in a certain dress You know what I'm talking about. As soon as that broke, that sort of made Drudge. And then he became news aggregator extraordinaire. Everyone in politics or news or media would go to Drudge Report to see what was going to be the headline or the headlines for the day. Something happened in recent history. Is usually pretty balanced, even leaning right. And something happened a few years ago, and then very strictly leaning left on a lot of things. Very interesting to sort of see what happened. Maybe fell into the trap of if you attack Trump, you get clicks, sort of a thing. Who knows? Who knows? But you still can go here to see what the headlines are going to be for the day. And so I found out about this death of Gorbachev and just waited. I actually went and kept waiting for Drudge to update, which you finally did. So if we look here, Mikhail Gorbachev, former Soviet president who took down the Iron Curtain, dies. 91. He was he was 91 years old when he died. Was the Soviet leader from 85 to 91. What's interesting now is because of what is going on in the news with Russia right now, I'm just wondering how they're going to take this, because here's what this does. This almost brings a nostalgic sort of thing, a positive air to Russia. And at the moment, with the current narrative, you can't have anything positive going on with Russia. So I'm just wondering how they are going to spin it. And it can't be from history. So it's going to have to be something that's sort of retread. All right. So if we look here, a couple things, and it gives the normal, big political leader died. It goes through some of those things, right? It says outgoing, charismatic nature. Gorbachev broke the mold for Soviet leaders who until then had mostly been remote, icy figures. So it seems like they're going to go with he was a good guy. They're probably going to brand him as he really was a Westerner who was trying to bring it all back. So maybe they'll find a way to kind of spin it to pro-America, pro-US sort of thing. So anyway, there's some articles here that, or some parts of this article here that kind of just go through his history. Of course, the man is probably best known for his birthmark right on his head, right on the front there. Very distinctive, the butt of many jokes in the 80s. But there you go. So Gorbachev, rest in peace. And now you know the mysteries. You have met your creator. So looking at this, just taking a second to look at Drudge Report, I can't necessarily say that the spin is always good, but Drudge does a pretty good job of bringing up the stuff that's going to be in the news. Now, I am actually a little disappointed because a couple of other things that I thought were going to be here, very much not. And so we'll check a couple of other things. Another place I normally go as a news aggregate is Citizen Free Press. They do lean heavy right, but between the two, you get kind of both ends of the spectrum there. And so you've got this one here, and let me see. I'm scanning. I don't see anything here either. I'm looking for a very specific news item. I do know where it is. Another source for news is going to be Reuters. Associated Press is the other one. You'll notice here right on the front, Mikhail Gorbachev died. That's the top news item. They talk about also Mississippi's capital disrupted by water loss. So you do get some pretty U.S. centric things here, but Reuters is kind of a little bit more international from what I can take as just kind of a surfacey kind of thing. But the thing that I thought which should be headline news right on the front. I have to go to World and I have to go to Middle East. And even in the Middle East page, I have to go down a little bit to Iraq news. Iraq PM threatens to quit if complications persist. Iraqi cleric Sadar. I've only read it, so I'm probably mispronouncing it. Apologies. Calls off protests, but if we look, there's major attacks, major things are going on, major unrest. says here, attacks on major Iraqi gas field drive out U.S. contractors. Here's what's interesting. A few days ago, we kind of celebrated we didn't celebrate. We mark the year anniversary of the U.S. Running away from Afghanistan, tail between its legs, in a demoralizing pullout. And here a year later, we have a similar thing. Wait for the embarrassing pictures to start circulating around of airlifting diplomats and contractors from Iraq and bringing them home. It's going to be bad. This is also bad in light of a few other things which you don't really have time to get into, but I don't know why this is not on the front page of everything except for U.S. and its oil investments and all of the plans that it had with the petrodollar and all those things are all starting to fall apart. And this is one of those things. So terrible, terrible thing. And for people who remember the second Iraq war, it was always the first Iraq war where they said, oh, it's about oil. What, that's the reason we're going to Iraq. And then the second Iraq war, second Gulf War, they said, oh, that's how they're going to pay for liberating Iraq is going to be the oil. They're going to give us cheap oil, and that's how we're going to get. Well, if we're pulling out here, like how is that really working? That was supposed to be that. And I think the reason for all of those wars were total bunk. At the very least, not what they stated they were. But now we're in real trouble. Now, they try to put out a good spin here. Here's an article that says, Iraq oil exports unaffected by political turmoil. Really? This will be the first time. It used to be that if someone glared at someone the wrong way in an OPEC meeting, that would have an effect on oil. But all of a sudden, the U.S. pulling out of Iraq is going to have no effect. That doesn't make any kind of sense to me. But anyway. The other news item, which is difficult to find, is the insane flooding in Pakistan. And I wonder if it might just be kind of attached to India stuff, which politically would be weird if they did. No, nothing there. Also, not a great time for India either. Their currency, it's not doing so hot. So anyway, beer news. Carlsberg acts to remove partners board members from India unit as dispute deepens. Goodness gracious, it's impacting beer. But anyway, so there you go. Yeah, you know what? Ha. A couple of other things. The heat wave in China, that was the other thing that I haven't really seen anything on it. Look at this. So I'm going back to Drudge and looking on the front page of Drudge right now. There is this really cool picture. I'll zoom in a little bit if possible. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? Now, Instagram, I'm sorry to make you feel bad about that. But it says here's the headline. Rare rainbow scarf. That's what they're calling it. It looks like a scarf around a cloud. It says it stuns people, which it is pretty amazing. Now, if you click on the article, it says rare rainbow scarf cloud stuns people in China. Here's all you need to know about it right here in this article. Really cool photo. I will give him that. It's pretty gorgeous. It says nature is magical, and it occasionally allows us to witness its magic. Here's a rare video of what they're calling a rainbow scarf. Looks pretty neat. It says it's gone viral. Video was shot on the 21st of August, according to Mashable. So it says here. I know. Sorry, Instagram. Instagram Live, you're not going to be able to see it. I haven't figured out a way to bring all of these together. But if you hop over to either the Facebook or the YouTube Live, you can actually see it. I will, when this is done, I will go back and edit, and I'll add these links to the description, which is also not really great because you can't click on descriptions because Instagram can't figure things out. I don't know why. But here's what I want to get to here. They talk about this, and honestly, this isn't even a very long article, but even though most people read the first couple and said, "Wow, that's really pretty," probably even shared the picture. The last two paragraphs. Recently, authorities in China were trying to generate. Please listen. Recently, authorities in China were trying to generate rain during a severe drought that was caused by a sweltering heat wave. And when we say heat wave, we're talking over 110 consistently in areas where they don't see that kind of weather. Like, it's drying up whole rivers. Even the I believe it's the third largest river in the world is pretty much gone, most places, and it's just trickling tiny little creeks now, which it used to, I mean, it's the third largest river in the world from this heat wave. It says the country is reportedly intending to utilize cloud seeding technology to generate rain in an effort to alleviate the drought conditions afflicting several regions, including the Yangtze River Basin. Like we just said, the process of cloud seeding involves, please listen, it involves sending aircraft into the clouds and releasing silver iodide, which induces rain to fall on the clouds. The scientists also believe that a geoengineering like this might be used in the future to prevent the impacts of climate change on the planet. Well, a couple of things. Number one, it hasn't worked here, has it? It's not working in China. Here's the other thing. What if this heat wave is the result of already messing with the weather? They always put it as just cloud seeding. We're just trying to get it to rain. However, when you start to look at some of the things that have been reported, and it's usually not reported in the US very well, but in China and in Russia, it's not just cloud seeding. They talk about some of the other things they try to do. They're trying to affect the jet stream, bring rain in from other places where it hasn't been. And one of the accusations that I've heard from some of the information is that they're doing that in the United States. Well, the weather, it changes everything everywhere. So if you change something somewhere, it's going to change somewhere else. It's going to have an impact. There are ripples that go all over the place because of this. And this is one of those details that people seem to not believe. They don't believe that these things are happening. So the question will go out. Do you believe in man-made climate change? And a lot of people will answer that in a very political way, right? In a divided way. Either, yes, all climate impact is from man. But if you ask them how, it's from cars, it's from burning coal, natural gas, all of these different things, right? But the real climate change might actually be coming from this type of shenanigans. Do you know what the impact is when you start messing with the clouds and you start messing with weather like that? It's insane to think that you can do these sorts of things and not have some sort of impact. What are we doing? So there it is. It's in that article. It's saying we were trying to do these cloud seedings, but we got this beautiful thing. Anyway, one other place we can go to Twitter and check the trending. As you can see here, number one trending is Gorbachev. Gorbachev's number one trending. Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. This more has to do with the that's political. Normally that's Wilkes-Barre is a center for student loan sort of thing. A lot of banks have a center there. So as you go through here, nothing on China, nothing on Iraq, nothing on Iran. It's like everyone is sleeping. Corn pop. That's fun. Look at that. Okay. Silliness on Twitter. Side note, the other thing that is also not being discussed, and it should be here on Twitter at least, the deal with Twitter and Elon is pretty much done. In case you were thinking there was still something there, still holding out hope, it's kaput for a number of reasons. Twitter may be on its last leg, finally. I know that it's been heralded before, but this might actually be it. If you look through, there's very little actual impactful news that's being stated here on Twitter in the trending. The things that are most important, like we've talked about, they're not even showing up here. Still talking about the war in Ukraine here, and that's not even number one. It's not even the top 10. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Finally got one here. Why Pakistan's devastating floods won't inspire a green revolution. So even when we do bring up something of importance, they're saying that it's going to do very little to change people's ideas about the weather and about climate change and all those things. This also very well may be an impact, the same type of impact. So, or at least from the same thing that's impacting China. So China's, we just talked about, they're having that heat wave. They're trying to cloud seed and all these different things. You don't think that might have an impact to Pakistan? If they're cloud seeding in China, you don't think that that could have something to do with that? Could this be, okay, I'll just put it this way. If there was some type of weapon where they could control the weather and they were weaponizing it, do you think that they would tell us? Do you think we would know, or we would just see the effect? I think we would just see the effect. That's me personally. Could this be a proof for it? There's no way to really prove that it is unless we actually got something that said that they had been doing this on purpose. So, not the most fun day for news, things like that. Let's check entertainment real quick just for fun, see what's trending. Taylor Swift announces a new album. Okay. Wonder Man is announced by someone for Marvel. Ben Kingsley to provide. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, nothing of real interest. V for Vendetta is trending again. Well, IMAX format. Okay. Well, I digress. Well, everybody, just a couple of things to look at, a couple of items. Hey, I see Trinity. What's going on? I'm glad you're here. Here's what I'm going to do for both Instagram and for YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and put the links to the articles in the descriptions on both of those posts. And so those will be available if you want to kind of click through. I'll try to grab all the ones that we looked at. But just as a reminder, even though something might be up at the top, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the most important news item, and it doesn't mean it's the only thing that we should pay attention to. As we were saying before, a lot of stuff that is the most important, you're not going to find there on the headlines. So you really have to dig and you really have to look. Trying to be informed and trying to figure out what is the most important thing to put your attention to can be a chore. And I think it's, for a lot of people, it's so difficult that they don't even try anymore. They just let someone else tell them what's going on. But it's really important for us to look and to see what is being put out there, what is being placed in front of us, and could it be that there's something behind there that might be important for us to take a look at. And so a couple of these things could be really, really important for us to remember. The death of Gorbachev, I think, is going to be one that they're going to push to the front by tomorrow. But anyway, we'll see. No major predictions, but hey, I'm glad that you're all here. If you've joined me here live. If you haven't been here live, hopefully in the replays you find something of value. If you find something of value, hit a like, a thumbs, whatever it is on the platform you happen to be looking on. And if this is something that you at least enjoy, I appreciate you being here. Let me know if there's anything that you do want to talk about when we do this. I'm trying to do these maybe 3 times a week, and then we'll see what we're able to do from there. And but I will say, I hope that you all have a wonderful day from here on out. And yeah, no matter what you're into, no matter what's going on or what's happening in your life, keep looking up. It's still the best way. Pilgrim on, my friends. See you around.